There's a story of a famous scholar, one of the great scholars that the Jewish people have had in recent times. His name was Rabbi Rosen. Rabbi Yosef Rosen. He was a rabbi in the city of Dvinsk. Dvinsk, I guess, is Lithuania, for many years. During the years that he was in Rav, it became Poland and Russia and Latvia intermittently. He was at Rav for a very long time. It was an incredible mind. In his lifetime, he was a legend. He was one of those. He passed away in 1936. In his lifetime, in other words, when he lived, the great rabbis of his era saw him as head and shoulders above them. He was in a different level altogether. Our Rebbe, the Rebbe, if you can say this, saw him as his personal teacher in Talmud. He would quote him more than any other recent authority of Talmud. He's known by the name of the city in which he was born. The genius of Rogatchow, the Rogatchover Goen. He was a rabbi in Dvinsk, but he was born in Rogatchow. I don't know where these cities are. You'll have to forgive me for that. And he was an extraordinary mind. Very, very, had a fantastic memory. Very, very probing. He remembered everything, but he also was very deep and analytical, unbelievably creative. And he developed a philosophical approach to Talmud. The Rebbe would say that he invented a new approach to how you should study Gemara. Very, very philosophical, based on philosophical principles, which he presents in his voluminous writings. He wrote extensively, but his style of writing is very cryptic. It's almost like code. He was a fantastic mind, an incredible mind. And he was an agitated man. He was not a calm, collected, sweet rabbi. That wasn't his thing. He was a genius. And he would have loved to have been surrounded by other geniuses with whom he could spar. He didn't mind losing an argument. He had an issue with dumbbells, and he was quite forthright about what he thought of people who were unintelligent. And you could have an IQ of 150 and he would think of you as an idiot. He was very, very bright. And people describe him with a table full of books, a table, just open books, and him running around the books, just running, stopping and poking his head into one book. That's how his mind worked very quickly. And the whole Torah to him was a piece of art. And he put it all together in this very original approach that he had, and he drew out of it little images, little sketches for us to enjoy when we study his writings, which are not easy to study, but very creative, very original. But the point I'm trying to make from this whole introduction is that Rogatchover was not the kind of fellow you would ever see sitting still. He was always on the move. He was running. He would be in a shul. He was pacing. He was in his house. He was circling the table. He was so much energy in this man. He couldn't sit still. But he was a genius. He was a great mind. And when he spoke, he was very patient. His writing is very cryptic, but his style of speech was very understandable. So a young yeshiva boy, if I understand the story correctly, it's someone who was actually still alive. He's over 100 today. Rabbi Mendel Morozov walks into a shul late on a Shabbos afternoon in Leningrad. Leningrad, either the Shabbos goes so late that it goes till Sunday morning, or Shabbos is so short, by 2 p.m, it's over. And the Rogatchover is alone in shul. And he's sitting uncharacteristically still. He's very still, which he never was. He was always moving around. And this young boy, this Mendel, who was then about 9 or 10 years old, is intrigued by the Rogatchover sitting alone in a shul, very still, concentrating on something. Almost like a little kid is watching a spider climb up its little thread. And he walks over to the Rogatchover, and he's sitting with a pocket watch, with a little pocket watch, a gold pocket watch. People used to use pocket watches in those days. And he's counting off the seconds. You know how the second handle turns? There's 2 types of second hands. You have a second hand that keeps on moving, and you have the one that goes tick, tick, tick. It counts. Every second is a distinct unit of time. And he's looking at this watch and he's counting the seconds and he's counting away. And it seemed so out of character. What's he doing? Little children count seconds. The Rogatchover had no patience for people who thought they had great ideas. And here he is counting seconds on a clock. And he's completely oblivious. He doesn't see that there's a little boy behind him watching this great rabbi sit there counting seconds. Anyway, eventually he's counting seconds. Suddenly he hears him say, "Ois, finished." He closes the watch and he stands up and he walks away. What he was doing was counting the seconds till the end of Shabbos. Because one of his obsessions, this genius of Rogatchover, one of his obsessions, one of the things as a Talmudist, as a scholar, which intrigued him and it made him nuts, was time. Time is not something that we fill with events, with experiences. Time has energy. And in Jewish law and in Jewish philosophy, Shabbos is a different kind of time than Friday and a different kind of time than Sunday. Shabbos you make Kiddush. But if you didn't make Kiddush Shabbos, Shabbos is going to happen anyway. There's 24 hours every seventh day that's holy. And to this great mind, the idea that a second hand on a clock, on a watch, ticks, and all of a sudden there's a different energy than a second before, without anybody doing anything, fascinated him. He was very, very intrigued by that prospect. You know, nobody does anything. They turn a page on a calendar, the handle on the clock moves, and there's a new energy, there's a new time. But this is very much a part of Yiddishkeit. It's a part of our religion and our belief system and how we live on a philosophical level. That time is made up of pieces. We don't believe that time is a continuum. You know, this is not a time to have a philosophical conversation. It's certainly not a time to discuss what science thinks about these ideas. But there's an argument to say that there's no such thing as time. Only clocks, right? If you are a fruit fly that has a life expectancy of 48 hours, an hour of our time is a year, right? If you are a tree that lives 4,000 years, so 40 years, a year is a couple of days. There's a relativism to time. And there's an argument that time is how much of it you have to spend, how quickly you move, how you use your time. But of course we don't believe that. Nobody believes that. If you're sensitive, you're understanding. Time is an entity. It's a thing. It's a thing unto itself. And in Jewish thought, just like space is made up of units, right? There's a Beis Hamikdash. There's a holy temple. It was built on Har HaMoriah, the Mount Moriah. It's a holy space. It's not a holy space because the Beit HaMikdash was built there. The Beit HaMikdash was built there because it's a holy space. When God created the world, He destined that space to be holy. The Rebbe in his writings makes a very powerful argument. He says when Jewish people put up a shul, any place in the world, when Jewish people put up a shul, any place in the world, over the course of 3,000 years, that space, that geography, that piece of ground, that piece of earth, was originally a piece of the land that was destined for the Beis HaMikdash. It's holy space. And the divine hand, the Hashgacha Olyona, the hand of God, leads people to erect a holy house, a sanctuary on a spot, because the space has a sanctity. And it says in the holy books that when Mashiach comes, the space itself of the shuls, of the special shuls, not every local mom and pop, but the shuls of great significance are going to be physically attached to the Beis HaMikdash because they're in essence a part of the Beis HaMikdash. In other words, there's holy space. So there's holy time. Shabbos isn't holy because we make Kiddush. We make Kiddush because it's holy. It's a holy day. And it has a unique energy associated with Shabbos. And the same is with Yom Tov. We have a variety of different holidays. And every holiday, the time has an energy. Right? Yom Tov is different than Shabbos. Yom Tov is different than Shabbos. Shabbos, God sanctifies. Yom Tov, we sanctify. And you see it in the Kiddush. I don't want to put you all to sleep. I'll do that in an hour. But in the meantime, I want to keep you awake. Yeah. You could see it in the actual Kiddush. That on Yom Tov, you don't say, Baruch atah Hashem Mekadesh. Thank God for sanctifying the holiday. You say, thank God for sanctifying the Jew. Mekadesh Yisrael v'hazmanim. On Yom Tov, you say he sanctifies the Jewish people who sanctify the Chag. Shabbat, on Shabbos, Mekadesh HaShabbat. God sanctifies Shabbos. We sanctify Yom Tov. But Yom Tov also is a special time. In other words, the day of Yom Tov, the week of Yom Tov. In this case, it's 8 or 9 days. We live in Chutz La'aretz, outside of the Holy Land. They have an extra day of Yom Tov. These days are special. They're not special because of what we do. We do what we do because they're special. It's special time. There's an energy. It's an opportunity. There's an energy. And when you understand it that way, when you understand the idea that certain days have special energy, you understand, in the words of the Talmud, the language of the Gemara, Ovar zmane batal karbane. You missed the day, the opportunity is gone. You had a day, you had a Shabbos. Shabbos is a holy day. You took advantage of Shabbos. You benefit from what Shabbos brings, or what Shabbos makes available, or what Shabbos makes possible. You have a Sukkos, Chag HaSukkos. If you take advantage of what Sukkos offers, it's an incredible opportunity. You can't make Sukkos in February. It's not going to work. You can't make Pesach in October or November. It's not going to work because there is a time. God created a specific time with a special energy associated with a specific gift. And we have a bunch of holidays. Jews have got a lot of holidays, right? If you know anything about Jewish history, whenever the Goyim complained that we had too many holidays, they gave us a new one. Haman Rasha. You heard of Haman? Yeah, you heard of Haman, yeah? He complained that the Jews are never working. They're a bunch of lazy... It's an old complaint. It's not a new one. The Jews are always on vacation. Here, there's Pesach, there's Shavuos, there's Sukkot. So Haman comes to Achashverosh and says, these Jews, you employ them, you give them a job. He has a whole list of days they can't come in. And he wants you not to include it in his paid vacation. He wants to have it extra because it's because of religion. And otherwise he's going to take you to court and accuse you of religious persecution and discrimination, which is like all the very bad things in America these days. So Haman complains to Achashverosh, the Jews never worked, they have a bunch of holidays. So God laughs and says, Haman, you just gave us another one, another day off. Put him, you understand? Jews have a lot of holidays, but every holiday is a day. It's a time. And the time has an energy, it has a life. But not all holidays have the same life. Every holiday has a theme, a primary theme, a secondary theme. And every holiday is connected to a particular opportunity, to a particular possibility. Right? During the course of the year, we go through a whole bunch of stuff. The following year, repeat it again and again, right? Pesach is a season of freedom. Freedom. And, freedom is like health, You don't feel your body. Who pays attention to health until someone gets sick? Right? But health is a big one, yeah? Freedom is huge. Freedom is huge. You don't think about freedom until it's challenged. The truth of the matter is, the greatest challenge to our freedom is our Yetzer Hara. You know that, right? The Yetzer Hara. Rabbi, do they have a Yetzer Hara in New Jersey?
They call it animal soul.
The animal soul, okay. The animal soul is I get it. The animal soul is the greatest obstacle to freedom. Why? Because what does it mean to be free? This is my one question test. What does it mean to be free? Anybody know what it means to be free? You have to give me my answer. I'm sure there's 101 answers, but you got to come up with mine. Freedom means the ability to tell yourself to do something and actually do it 100% of the time. I'll say it again. Freedom means the ability to tell me, not to tell you, to tell myself, tomorrow you're getting up at 6, and to actually get up 100% of the time. If I tell myself to do things and I have no ability to follow what I tell myself, I'm a prisoner. Now, no one's holding me.
So you call it discipline.
Pardon me?
So freedom is discipline.
No, it's mastery. You see, discipline has a connotation that's negative. Mastery of self. Being free means I own me. I own me. I have a house. Nobody can step in my house. I own myself. I can do with myself as I wish. And if I cannot do as a wish because of temptation, because of fear, because of phobia, whatever the case is, then I'm not free. I'm a prisoner. And sometimes I'm not a prisoner to anything that I can take to court and say, because I'm a prisoner to myself, my own weakness, my own bad habits, and so on. So Pesach is a Yom Tif, is a time where we don't remember freedom. We celebrate freedom. We live freedom. And of course the idea is it's a special time to gain some more freedom. Shavuot, is God gave us the Torah. It's a holiday celebrating the Torah. Whatever that involves. Sukkot has two themes. Sukkot has two big ideas. The holiday of Sukkot is a time, there's an energy available, the time of Sukkot, for two things. Unity and joy. The two energies that Sukkot represents in essence. In other words, these are days that I can affect in my life. I can do things for me that I couldn't do yesterday and I won't be able to tomorrow because today is special in these two arenas, unity and joy. So we have two topics on the table. We can talk about two things. We can talk about joy and we can talk about unity. I'm going to talk about unity first. But we'll first sing a nigun, okay? Because I want you to stay awake. And we'll say l'chaim. And I'll talk about unity. I'll try to do it not too long, because I do want to dedicate most of the conversation to joy. But I want to touch on the idea of unity, what it means, and how it relates to us in our own practical lives. So say l'chaim, if you don't mind drinking with me. L'chaim lebracha, and tevin shalom, and gut mayid. L'chaim lebracha. And